Hey, how you doing? I'm tired. And that's what Olivia tells me. I'm tired. But you just woke up. I'm tired.
Then you get the dad joke.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so I'm excited to be here today. So, again, my name is Carlos Salcido. Both my daughters attended this school. Olivia is currently a freshman here. Um, in my day job, I'm an engineer, a fiber optic equipment engineer for AT&T. So your cell phones work because I get internet to the cell sites so that they can work, right? And when they don't work, it's not my fault. It's usually someone else's fault, and then I'll go out to fix it. So that's what I do during the day, and I moonlight as a production company, right? I'll do anything. Right there, I specialize in live events, uh, funerals, weddings. Unfortunately, mostly it's funerals because people can't connect. When COVID happened, I'll give you a brief summary of how I got here. When COVID happened, my church is a very small church. We didn't do any live streaming. Nobody knew anything, but I love technology. I'm such a dweeb when it comes to like gear, video games, cameras, all that stuff. And it was a challenge for me to get our church online because as you guys know, they were only letting vital services take place during that time, but they didn't see us meeting together as a body as something vital. And I believe to the core of my being that that was more vital than anything that they were allowing us to do, which was gather together, pray, and fellowship. So we were trying to find a way to have the church connect because we didn't have those abilities. So we started with a simple webcam, a terrible microphone, and a laptop that barely worked. And we evolved into pretty much being capable of doing tons of live stream events, multiple cameras, include a whole band. But it was a process. As with anything that we do, when you start to learn how to do something, uh, you're not very good at it, right? And when you're not very good at something, it's easy to get discouraged, right? Would you guys agree with me? Right? And then when you get discouraged after 3 or 4 times, what do a lot of people do? They quit. They give up, right? But I think it's a lesson in life that you guys learn later on, and you don't realize it, that I wasn't good at something today, but 3 years from now, I'm amazing at it, right? We like to use the analogy of athletes, at least in my youth group, because that's another thing that I do. I'm a youth leader at my church, and I'm also an assistant pastor, right? And the one thing that I tell the kids is we have to persevere through adversity, and that's one thing that we did with this live stream production. I knew nothing about photography, I knew nothing about video, and I fell in love with the process. And I think that's so important when it comes to video production, especially in this class, because what we do is we tell a story, right? That's what we do. When you interview something, what's the purpose of interviewing someone? What's that?
Learn more about them.
Learn more about them, right? But are you the interviewer trying to learn about them, or are you trying to share their story with somebody? Yeah, with somebody else, right? We want to give them an opportunity to hear the story about this person, about what they went through, about what they experienced, right? It's not just pointing. Anybody can point a camera on somebody and hit record. That's easy, right? Let me point a camera at you and tell me, how was your day? And what are you going to tell me? Fine. Is that a story? No, it's our job to allow the person to channel their emotions and their experience through the questions we ask and share that with others, right? Media production it's just there's so much associated to it. There are so many jobs that you can do in this field, but the thing is you have to be passionate about it. Because if there's no passion and there's no creativity, we're not going to produce something that people love. This is not just a job; it's something that you love to do. So media production, I have just some very different things up here. What is it? It's different visual and audio elements to convey a message, right? To inspire an expected reaction from an audience. Some examples are music, podcasts, movies, video commercials, blogs, radio shows, and books. And these are things that we can share our passion with the world, right? There's just medias that we can use to share our passion. Who likes to write? What do you like to write? Yeah, what do you like to write?
Usually go along with like novels.
Mm-hmm.
Like writing, cut down
Mm-hmm. And what's the purpose of doing it?
Well, for me, at least, just to have a lot of fun, creativity,
Okay, so you like to do that, right? It's about creativity. Who likes to write essays? Don't all raise your hands at once, right? Why do you think you guys don't like to do it? Okay, it takes a while. You guys are forced to do it, right? With anything that you do that you put effort into, um, you guys are going to get out of it what you put into it. And another life lesson here is that sometimes in life we're forced to do things that we don't want to. The question is what kind of attitude are you going to put into it? If you have to do a job and you go to that job with a bad attitude, what do you think the outcome is going to be? Maybe I go to tons of places where people should not work there, but they do. But you're going to have a miserable existence while you're doing it, right? I've done so many jobs. So just backstory, I when I was in high school at 16 years old, I got my son's mom pregnant. So I had to make a choice because I turned 17 in November and my son was born in February. And I had to make a choice. I had the option to go to UCR to play baseball, and I was going to get a partial scholarship. But if I did that, my mom was going to have to help me provide for my child, or I could do something about it. And I went to the Army. So I emancipated. You guys know what that means? So emancipated means that you become legally an adult before uh, the age of 18. I enlisted in the Army and I served almost 6 years. I didn't want to go, but I had a responsibility to provide for my son. And so I did that. And then when I got out, life still wasn't easy. And I did tons of jobs. I cleaned toilets. I, you know, cooked in the kitchen of restaurants that I hated. I dealt with terrible people. I worked at Costco, which was pretty cool, right? And so I got to do a ton of things that if I had a negative attitude about it, I probably wouldn't be where I am today because I let myself be negative about the situation. You guys got to remember, right? We come to a Christian school and God tells us to be joyous in all occasions, right? We should be we should know that God is working in everything that we do, and I'm confident that God is working in with what I'm doing because it kind of leads into what I am doing today with my media production company. So what kind of skills are required? What do you guys think? No wrong answers. What kind of skills are required to be involved in video production, media production, any type of stuff like that? Okay, being able to edit. Okay, what else?
knowing what shots will look good.
Knowing what shots, so composition, right? Lighting, all that stuff, right? What else? What's that? Well, I wrote down 6. This is not an all-inclusive list. Okay, but the very first one has to do with what you guys are talking about, technical skills, right? You guys have to know how to do something in order for it to be good. So if I hired you guys today to make me a video, what would you guys charge me? $50. Would it be good? It'd be $50 good, right? You get what you pay for, right? Practice makes perfect. So just to give you guys an idea, when I first started doing this work, I worked for free, right? And everybody that I know hated that I worked for free because I was spending gas money, I was spending time, I was spending days. But this last shoot that I just did a shoot, and I was telling Mr. Washerman about it, that it was a shoot that I told him I don't want to do. Um, I ended up doing that one for free because it was someone I know and it was not work that I was proud of. But the job I did before that, I I got paid pretty much like $1,900 for 7 hours worth of work. So again, it's time and experience, right? We're talking about COVID 2020, right? We're in 2024. Where I started is not where I am today. So you have to value your skills. Because when I started, the technical skills I had were atrocious, terrible. I couldn't tell you a story. And if you looked at the video, you wouldn't even want to continue to look. but it has to do with camera settings, audio, lighting, color grading, motion graphics, all those things. Like motion graphics, I won't do. I'll send my motion graphics to somebody else, right? You have to know what you don't know. That's very important. And not just in this, but in life. You have to know what you're capable of, and you have to know what you can deliver. And I know that I'm no graphic artist. I know that I can't do motion graphics. So I send that to somebody else, and I pay somebody who is an expert in that. Okay. Um, Again, software tools. Who knows Adobe Premiere? Yeah. DaVinci Resolve, CapCut. Everyone knows CapCut, right? Making those reels, right? So these are just some of the softwares that people used to do what we do. It's very important to be well-rounded, to have to be able to talk the language of what you're doing. Again, everything goes back to you get what you put into it, right? I'm gonna tell. Well, I don't know if the girls play video games. Who plays video games? What games do you guys play? Call of Duty, right? What do you play? The 2K, right? So back in my day, right? It was like Super Contra and like Super Mario Brothers, right? And um, it's funny, I tell my kids this all the time. We talk about the effort that you put into being able to pass a level when you keep dying over and over again, right? And you just keep going and going and going, and then it's like 7 hours later and you're still on the same level. But at the end of it, you go through that level without being hit, getting all the points on the level, and you get like a super high score, right? Effort, effort. But we'd be surprised what we're willing to put effort in and what we're not willing to put effort in. Um, Very key. You should always be willing to learn new features. So I'm going to tell you this again because you guys are in school. You guys probably hate school. And then some of you guys don't want to go to college after school. You're like, I just want to work, or I just want to do whatever. I just want to go surf. Uh, you know, it doesn't matter what you do or where you're at in your life. You're always going to be learning something. I went to school. I hated it. Right. And then I would start a new job, and then I would have learned something new, and then I would hate it. And then it got to the point where it wasn't about hating it. It was about learning to appreciate what you have in that moment, in that time, where you're at in life. And I'm still learning stuff today, right? I just learned yesterday a shortcut in DaVinci Resolve to be able to edit the video faster, right? So it's like you're always learning, and then you got to be learning about the new technologies, right? 4K HDR. You guys know what VR is? What is it? AR, augmented reality, right? AI, man, that stuff's taking over, right? But we can't let that take away because it'll never take away the vision of a person, right? You guys, I'm telling you guys are all so different. And if I gave you one assignment, you guys would all do it different, and and a lot of them would probably be good. Some of them probably won't, but it's just being honest, right? Because again, you get what you put into it. Um, Next one, creative skills. You have to be creative in doing what we do. So it's so important that you guys are able to tell a story. Do you guys know what the click rate on a YouTube video is, or the watch rate is on an average YouTube video? It's 30 seconds. 30 seconds, right? That is the capacity of our peanut minds. 30 seconds, unless something captures you. Why do you think you guys get all these clickbaits with thumbnails with people like this, on the thing, right, on YouTube? Because they're trying to engage the audience. So how are you going to capture someone's attention? Have you guys ever been in the presence of someone who's a great storyteller? Yeah. Makes me think of my dad. My dad told the biggest lies ever, right? But the stories he would tell were amazing, where people would just stop. They would listen. They would watch. And then about like towards the end, they'd realize that my dad was lying. But he got them all the way to the end, right? We're here to capture the audience. But the question is what story are you trying to tell? You guys are the future, right? It is part of God's body. You guys come to a Christian church, so I'm assuming that every single one of you believe. And this media that we have, we can use to bring people to God. Well, you guys don't even have to tell them about God. You guys, people will be able to see that you're a believer, right? We should be a living embodiment of what a believer is supposed to be, right? People should be able to look into our lives and know that we walk with Jesus. And because they see us walk with Jesus, it should captivate them and it'll encourage to bring people to God. I'm telling you, it works. Um, so creative skills, so important. We need to develop. We need to make sure that our videos stand out, or images. Because have you guys ever seen a picture and just be like, how did they do that? Right? I saw one where they were in the salt flats of Utah with the Milky Way behind them. And I stared at that picture probably for like maybe a good 5 minutes trying to figure out how they did the picture without AI. It was captivating. But people see the picture, people see a couple in the salt flats. I saw God's beauty because I saw the stars in the background. I saw that environment that God created. God's everywhere, and we can use our stories to bring Him into the highlights. Communication skills. Who likes to talk to people that they don't know? I do. Well, that's what I do all day, right? It's important that you guys are able to communicate, not just with your peers, not just with your friends, but with people that you don't know. Because you never know where your next job is coming from. A job that I have right now is coming from a person that I met at Starbucks. Because we were just talking, they're like, oh, you work at AT&T, and we were talking about videos, and I was like, oh yeah, I do live streams, and I do corporate videos, and I do headshots. So I'm charging this person $500 to do maybe about an hour's worth of content so they can turn it into reels and do some pictures because I'm willing to talk to people. But communication is not just about talking to strangers, it's talking about people who you work with, collaborators, crew, to make sure that what you're trying to portray is in the final result, right? So in movies, how many people do you think are on a crew? Say a small movie. Couple hundreds, right? You go indie, maybe 5 or 10. So there's the director, there's director of photography, there are the grips, right? Everybody has a role. But in order for you to get the visual outcome that you want, everybody has to understand what it is you expect. So it's important to communicate clearly, and it's important for you guys to learn that now, because that's a skill that it doesn't matter where you go. You guys can be a missionary in Ethiopia, or you guys can be a CEO in a company. Communication is important at any level of your life. So important. Um, Also, be able to need to listen to feedback. That is the one skill that I had to swallow my pride on and learn from. When I started a job, and it was working at Baja Fresh. It was a restaurant, and I started at 22, like 22 years old when I started that job. And I was like, I know how to cook. I'm the best, right? So I go in there and I start cooking, and I'm undercooking meat, and I'm burning stuff, and I don't want to listen to the feedback because I thought that I was the best thing since sliced bread. Not the case. Matter of fact, I almost got fired from there because I refused to take the criticism. Instead of listening to the feedback that I received, I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's only worked here 15 years, right? He doesn't know what he's talking about. I know what I'm talking about because I'm Carlos, right? 22 years old. I know everything. I refused to listen. And because I was not able to listen to the feedback, to the critiques, and I was disrespectful, uh, I nearly lost my job. And luckily, one of the other people that I respected had to come to talk to me, and that was my moment. I realized, hey, I have to provide for my family. I can't be this guy who doesn't listen, and that matters so much in anything that you do. Right? Communication is key. The reason it's super important here in video production is there's deadlines. Right? I have a horror story where I did a video for a guy. It was the first one that I ever did. And I was like, yeah, I can film this video for you and I'll have it to you by Tuesday. I filmed the video on Friday. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to color grade. And you guys know what a log profile is in a camera, right? You guys know what that is? Okay, so what are you guys filming on your phones? Okay, so the phone does everything for you, right? It sets the aperture, it sets the ISO, it sets your f-stop, right? It does everything for you, automatic. Well, I had a camera. It was called the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. It's a cinema grade camera, and it films in something called ProRes, and it's a log profile, meaning that instead of seeing all the pretty colors that you see on your iPhone, it films it in a gray flat profile. And you, as the editor, have to bring color to it. So you add color profiles, and it looked horrendous, horrendous. So I committed to it. He paid me. I committed to it, and I told him it would be there by Tuesday. It was Tuesday. It never got there. It was Friday. It never got there. It was Monday. I gave him his money back, and then it was Tuesday. I sent him the video files for somebody else to edit because I was not capable of providing the final product that I promised. And that's one of the biggest things. Do not overcommit if it goes up, and underdeliver. Right? We like to talk ourselves up, right? Do you guys like to talk yourself up? I'm the best. What are you good at? Smash Bros. Okay. Seja, what are you good at? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't talk about that. Okay. How about you, Olivia? What are you good at? Not sure? That's an answer that I see at your ages a lot. A lot of you guys don't know what you're good at. And Olivia, that's a fair answer, right? Why don't you guys know what you're good at? Are we scared to try new things? Are we scared to talk ourselves up because we might fail? Yeah. It's so important, guys. I'm going to tell you this, and I was telling Mr. Washington this before class started. The majority of the stories I have and are from failure. I fail so much at the things that I do, but it only makes me better. But this is the one thing that you guys can't do. You guys can't overcommit and under deliver, because a lot of what we do in business, in media production, in life, is we are our reputation. Right? It takes years to build up a reputation and a moment to ruin it. Right? Like I talked about that job that I filmed that I wouldn't have done if it wasn't for my friend, because it's something that I'm not proud of. It doesn't follow the 180-degree rule. It doesn't follow the 30-degree rule. It doesn't follow proper composition. But that's what they wanted. They refused to listen to me. And we have to ask ourselves: are we willing to compromise our reputation? It doesn't just apply to this; it applies to your life. If you're going to lie, if you're going to steal, if you're going to do something that goes against who you are, it'll ruin your reputation forever. Right? I guarantee that there are people in your life today that you remember them because of something they did a long time ago, and that may not even be who they are. Same thing applies to the reputation that you guys have. Right? We are called to be above everyone else. That doesn't mean that we're better than everyone else. We're called to live like Christ lived, right? To be an example to everyone that we come across, whether they like us or not. Organizational skills. Man, this is like my Achilles heel. I am the most organized person ever. If you were to go to my office, it'd look like a disaster, but I could tell you where everything is. But that's just not the way we should be, right? I'm using myself as an example because we have to be organized. Imagine you show up to a job set and there's like just stuff thrown everywhere. What would you think of the person that was running that film set? This is going to be a disaster. This is a circus. Look at this person. They're not organized. Perception is everything. We have to be organized, right? Because it's not just about filming, it's about organizing your files. Where do you keep your stuff? Probably have like 15 hard drives, right? That are all labeled because I know where my stuff is and I know where I need it to be. But organizational skills help you manage your time. Who's good at time management? Really? A lot of us are not. Why do you think? Hmm? Push things off? You like to be on time? So Foothills, 3 days a week, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You guys get your homework assignments on Monday or on Friday. Who does their work on Monday night before they have to come to school? Thank you for being honest. That's like 90% of the school, right? If you're not organized, right, and if you don't do your stuff to be timely, what kind of quality work do you think you turn in? Not always the best. And then you're surprised. I got a D? Mom, I did my work. I promise. I studied. Organization is so important because if we don't prioritize our time, the outcome of what we do is going to be subpar. Subpar. We need to be able to create a detailed production plan that outlines our objective, scope, timelines, budget, because it also counts as money. Who wants to get paid? Okay, let me ask you this. Who likes money? I didn't say who loves money. You don't like money? Yeah, we all like money, right? We need it. Who likes to spend money? I know Seja does, right? So we all like to spend money. We need it. I'm not saying love money, but we need it to live, right? And if you guys want to get paid, you need to be able to follow through with timelines, especially in this type of field. A lot of the times you end up working for yourself opposed to somebody else. And because you work for somebody else, or I'm sorry, you work for yourself, you have to be able to make sure that you have enough work coming in and that you're completing your deliverables on time so that you can get that money, right? Let me see. From January to March, I did probably about 14 jobs. And because some of this stuff didn't have timelines, there was really no rush to do it. And then I had to turn them in at the end. But I didn't really charge anything towards the end of February. But if I didn't have my main job, I would probably be wondering how I was going to eat in January, early February, right? Same thing at work. If you're not organized, do you think they're going to want to keep you around? Mm-mm. What do you want to be when you grow up, Allie? Like a vet? That's cool. I love vets. What about you? What do you want to be when you grow up? Yeah.
I don't know yet, but probably something in the
Criminal justice. Cool. I deal with a lot of FBI, DOJ guys. They're all wearing like shorts and, Hawaiian shirts. You never know, right? How about you, Sage? What do you want to be when you grow up? Don't say shopper. Okay. All very good things. Lots of school for what you want to do. Lots of paperwork for what you want to do. And then lots of hustling, trying to find customers, right? All this stuff requires organization. Definitely, especially with those DOJ guys. So because I do a lot of cell site stuff and I do a lot of fiber work, I deal with government accounts. And those guys, like this, stacks of paperwork for everything. Anything that you do in life, you have to be organized. You guys like dirty rooms? Whose room's dirty right now? Tell the truth. Thank you. Yeah. I can't, even though I work in organized chaos, if I'm going to cook, my kitchen needs to be clean, right? So it's better to start organized than to clean something or get organized as part of the process because it delays you. Networking skills, so important. So important. I go to a lot of places where I spend a lot of my time for free networking to talk to people in order to develop relationships, maintain relationships. A lot of stuff that we do in video production is based off of who you know, right? I worked with one lawyer, and that lawyer has 14 other lawyers in his office, and I've already been in touch with 3 others because of who I know. Never burn a bridge, right? Never burn a bridge because you never know when you're going to encounter someone that is going to require your resources. And another thing that I like to say is you guys always got to be presentable, right? I think about the way I go to a job. Could you imagine if I went to a job with my pants covered in paint, a dirty shirt, my hair not brushed, and me being kind of stinky? Like, are you going to hire me? No, right? What would you expect of someone that you hired? Be presentable, right? It's funny because my wife used to tell me this all the time. It took me forever to listen. She'd be like, "You're going to go like that to the store?" I won't tell you how I was dressed, but man, I was a wreck. It looked like I just rolled out of bed, right? You never know who you're going to meet wherever you're going. You could meet your future boss. You could meet your future significant other. You could meet a potential customer. You never know. Guys, the way we carry ourselves matters. The way we present ourselves to people matters. And you guys may be like, I'm just going to the store. Let me throw the Crocs on and some shorts with shorts on top of those shorts and like a t-shirt that has a bad word on it, or something that's just not presentable. Like, guys, the way we look matters. We're called to be different, right? We're called not to conform to the ways of the world, right? Because we are not of this world. We have to carry ourselves different. Everything you do should point back to God. The way you deal with people, the way you look, it matters. Even the attitude you carry around, right? I am very guilty of this. I sometimes have a very bad attitude, especially in the morning. I like to get up early, but I like to go slow, right? Let me warm up for the day. And sometimes I meet the most important people that I'm going to deal with in the day early in the morning. So how do we get past that? You guys got to push beyond that. Sometimes we have to push past our comfort zone and do things that we don't want to do. But networking skills are very, very important. Yeah. So opportunities, learn. It's just so important. Let me see, what else do we got here? And then learning skills. Life life changes. We're always learning new things, and it's important that you guys embrace that. Right? Learning is a lifelong process, and I continue to learn every day, and so should you. Even if you don't like it, find the things that you're passionate about, that you love, and pour into it. Because if you find something you love and you do a job that you love, it'll never be a day of work in your life. Okay? So I just have some really quick examples of stuff that I've done. I wish I would have kept a lot of the stuff that I failed at, because I have so many more pictures. So my camera has like over 200,000 actuations of pictures that I've taken in 4 years, and I probably only have like 800 that I've kept. Okay, so this is just an example. This is actually one of my first college graduate photo shoots that I ever did that I was happy with. Right, I probably took maybe 400 pictures of her, and I had 6 good ones. Right, it's a good thing this one was free. This is a recent one that I've done, and one of the pictures that I'm the proudest of, because there was so much stuff in the background. There was a trash can. There was plywood under what he was standing. His sleeves extended beyond his shirt by like 3 inches, right? So it was a lot of photo editing, and this is a guy who did not want to take pictures. He didn't even want to look at me. He was upset that he was there, right? But I took some of the best pictures of this guy, and I actually got him to smile at the end of the day, right? So these are just some examples. And then here's like, I took some others of them. We were in Coronado, right? This is at the Hotel Del, and you know, I I made uh, a metal picture of this one on aluminum, and I think they paid me like $900 for this photo shoot. And I'm not a photographer. I wouldn't call myself a photographer, but media uh, is very different. They're very different avenues, right? Photography, pictures, graphic design. There's so many things that we can do, and I don't say no to work. If you want me to take a picture or you want me to try something and I've never done it, I'll probably do it for free or heavily discounted, because I'm always learning. I'm always willing to learn. And I've probably spent more on equipment than I've ever made actually doing the work, because I've developed a passion for it. From having no experience, no skills, not caring, to loving this thing. I mean, I could quit my job and do this full time if I had the work coming in like that. So this is one of the fails that I had. It was pitch black. The sun was already over the horizon, and this is just the camera setting. And I didn't use this picture because it was too grainy. I was probably, I don't know, I was pretty far, like 50 yards away, and they were on the rocks. And the picture actually turned out pretty decent, but when I crop out let me see, come on. There it is. You see the difference, right? With a little bit of light. Same thing with this palm tree picture, right? Pictures that probably wouldn't use. Um, you just develop skills. You try things. Let me see. This was one of the first paid jobs that I did. It's for my church, right? But I do stuff for them that's paid as well. And this is a Easter invitation that we did last year. Um, what do you guys see wrong with this? Go ahead. Okay. Too much headroom. What else? Absolutely. What else?
There's a bit of a harsh light on the subject.
Yes. Who else? Somebody else had their hands up. How about not enough light on Miss Regina over there, right? This was my first like real photo shoot outside. Now, this is one that we did this year, and I didn't know we were doing it, and there's stuff wrong with this one too. What is wrong with this one? Okay, what else?
They're really close to the background, it flattens it out. It maybe get where like there's a corner behind them
Mm-hmm.
and they're further up in front, depth of field would be better.
Absolutely, 100%. What else? They're a little bit overexposed. If you look at the lighting on them, there was no diffusion on top of the LED panels, right? But this is one like, can we do an invitation right now? So this one's filmed with a very basic camera, the lights that they had there. So all of those things are correct, but it's functional, right? The majority of the people won't look at it. You guys have a different set of eyes because you're in the media class, right? So these are just some things. This is another one that I did for a business, right? That came out pretty cool, but this is one of my favorite pictures. The next one I'm going to show you guys is this one that I did in Coronado, right? This one is not a composition. And if you look very closely, there's a lot of places where I did not do a very good job of editing. But I wish you could have seen the first time we went, because this is the second time, right? The first time was not as good. So just a couple of other things. Here is a funeral that I did. Is a military member, passed away. Just one of the funerals. Here is another funeral that I did recently. So I actually got the light balanced where I like it. My white balance was good. This is probably from 30 feet back on a 70 to 200 lens, pointed right at them. So again, this is the majority of stuff that I do will be static shots. And this is next one is actually the one that I told you that I'm not proud of, and I wouldn't have done it if it was for a friend. What do you guys see? Well, they're along the glass pane, right? And if you look at you see the two light panels? We got one pretty much shining at the subject on the right. This one's shining, again, straight ahead. And look at my cameras. What do you see wrong with the cameras? Very close together, right? Very close together. You can see the reflections of the light in the glass. See, the guy on the right is a lawyer. The guy on the left is a risk management specialist. These are people who tell people what to do all day long, right? They didn't want to listen. I wanted to put them towards the corner. I wanted to move the table. I wanted to put a little bit of greenery in the background, right? They didn't want to do any of that. So I'm just going to show you the video that was a result of it. This is him. This is the camera pointing at him, right? There's no real depth of field because the background is literally right behind him. I didn't want the mic on his chest right there because you can see it. It's distracting to me. Also, it's just there's no the way the light hits his face. You don't get the shadowing that you want, right? It's just a very bland interview type setup. And then this is the other shot that was quite close. You can see Rayson getting ready to clap his hands so we can do an audio sync because we are filming on two cameras with two separate audio sources, and we want to make sure that we're able to sync those in post so that their lips are not out of whack. So did it accomplish what they wanted? Yes. Is this what I would have done? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So the question that you have to ask yourselves, and the reason I use these examples is, are you willing to compromise your quality of work when someone tells you to do something that you know is not going to be a good outcome? This was a lesson learned for me, though. I didn't know what the place was going to look like. I didn't talk to him about it before. I just said, "Yeah, I'll be there for you, buddy. I know you. We're friends. Let's take care of business." And when I got there, I was like, "Oh man, like maybe I should have taken pictures before, or maybe I should have had him show me what the room was going to look like." I want to encourage you guys never to compromise on your quality of work, especially if it goes against your standards. And that applies to everything that you do in life, right? We are the decisions that we make, and sometimes those compromises, when they go against what we believe, they allow us to make exceptions further and further down the road. Okay? Same thing with our walk with Jesus, right? What are we compromising on? What are we watching? What are we allowing ourselves to consume? I like to say garbage in, garbage out, right? You get what you put into it. So just an encouragement to you guys that don't compromise. Okay? So that's all I got for you guys this morning. I have some stuff that I brought. I know that we got to start tearing down, Mr. Washerman. It's 8:18. But I brought some equipment. This right here is very basic camcorder, right, with a monitor on top. But this is like my bread and butter. This simple setup right here, which is like under $1,000, makes me my most money for the live streams, because this is a live stream encoder, right? You guys live streaming, you guys see them all the time, right? YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. Oh, she didn't get that. So this right here usually will allow me to stream, and I can stream anywhere. Like I was streaming the volleyball games at the beginning of the year, right, using this, right, anywhere. Even with bad service, I can live stream with this. So I'll set that there. We have a C-stand, right? Can do so many things. We got a scrim for light diffusion. We got, a light right here. What else do we got? We got a gimbal. You guys know what gimbals are? This one's just like a heavier duty one. This will probably hold like an 18-pound camera. And I have like the smallest camera I own on it, just because it was easier to set up. But these are just many different tools. This here also is a live stream encoder. This is called an A10 Mini Pro. And what it'll do is allow me to connect 4 different cameras to give you 4 different views of a particular event. So this is something you'll see at churches, something you'll see like concert live streams. Have you guys ever seen a concert on live stream? And they're changing multiple cameras. They probably use something similar to this, if not a lot more advanced. So I have so much more stuff to show you, but we're running out of time. Do you guys have any questions? No? What you got? All the gear I use, I wish I could tell you, but I'm probably like maybe like 18,000 for the stuff that I own. And that's aside from, but I will tell you that that's the value, not what I paid, right? Because I'm not going to say that I'm cheap. I'm frugal, and OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace are my best friends. And even though I have all this camera gear, right? Like I have a Zoom audio recorder, right? Which is great. Do you need this? Probably not, right? This is just going to give me good audio to connect my shotgun mics into, and it's going to be a lot better audio than your phone or your regular camera. I like to say that the best camera you have is the one you have, or the best camera you can have is the one you have. You guys can do so much stuff with your phone, and I wish I would have known that before I started dumping a ton of money into the stuff that I've purchased. You can do easy stuff with a simple ring light with your phone versus having to spend all the money on here. Like we got a couple cameras, right? This is just it's a brand new R8. It just came out recently. It does like 4K, lets you record 2 hours. You can do the same stuff on your phone. It won't come out depending on what you do. If you're just live streaming, use your phone. Do a bunch of cool videos. And then if you like it, start investing, because this stuff adds up. Like this tripod right here alone, it's like $600. Just for the heavy duty tripod, it'll support like a 20-pound camera. You can spend every single penny you own or you have on camera gear, but if you don't practice, it'll never be enough. So just an encouragement, use what you have, because you guys can learn so much with what you have and then start buying stuff if you guys have a passion for it. Cool. Thank you guys.